Hey guys, it's almost Gemini season, so grab your tarot journals. Let's see what the cards have to say about you and your tarotscope this upcoming season. Hello, if you haven't met me yet, I am Leesa. I'm a certified tarot consultant whose goal is to help you leverage the power of the tarot to help you gain insights into yourself, navigate your future, and make your life amazing. And on this channel, I do pick a card readings, tarotscope readings like this one, guided meditations. So if you have not subscribed, be sure to go ahead and subscribe so that you will be here for the upcoming readings and to make sure that you're not missing any of those tarot related videos. So, today, guys, we are going to take a look at the tarotscope after I fling incense all over the place, apparently. But we're going to look at the tarotscope for the upcoming season of Gemini. So if you are new to my tarotscope readings, welcome. If you have found me, then this reading is definitely for you. And there's really just a couple of parts to this video. What we're going to do in the beginning is we are going to start by taking a look at the season of Gemini. We are going to look at what to expect during this season and then pull a card for each of those zodiac signs. And then you will go ahead and take a look at your particular tarotscope, your sun, moon, and rising sign, and combine that together to get a customized reading for you. Now, if you have never done one of my readings before, in terms of tarotscope and you're not sure what that is, I would say go ahead and check out the video I'm going to put up there. That's going to help you out quite a bit. It's not too long and it will definitely give you some things to consider and definitely allow you to get more out of this particular video. So once we are done with the tarotscope reading, at the end, we are going to use the Oracle of the Radiant Sun for one last bit of guidance that's going to help kind of wrap everything up for us this Gemini season. And you're going to be using your intuition to find the right, meaning behind that card for you. So make sure you stick around all the way till the end so that you will get a chance to take a look at that. So while I'm shuffling, let's just take a really brief discussion about the type of energy we're likely to run across during the season of Gemini. So, gosh, Gemini. We're talking about a sign that's all about the concept of mutable air. So a lot of people call Gemini, a very, very social, very human sign, right? Because we've got this idea of communication. We've got this idea of being willing to change. It's a very sociable sign. A lot of people see it as a very talkative sign. This is a great time for you to do a lot of brainstorming. It's an air sign, so we're looking at things like communication and thoughts and ideas. And it's a time of the year when the sun is in the position to really help you kind of mix things up quite a bit. Geminis don't like to sit still for too long. So wherever Gemini sits, whatever place it is in your chart, whatever house, or if you have planets there, you might find that, not liking to sit too long there. But I love the fresh perspective that Gemini can give us, okay? And kind of the way that we can filter things through that sort of fresh perspective type of way. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to finish shuffling. Once I do, I will be going through the cards one at a time, starting with Aries, making my way through. So I will put the timestamps down below. Make sure that you go to each one for your sun, your moon, your rising card, and then at the end for the oracle sign. Get ready to see your personalized tarotscope, and I'll see you at the end of the video. All right, let's go ahead and start with Aries. So Aries, let's see what we have for you. And the card that we have for you this month or this season is that of temperance. And when I think about temperance, guys, it's definitely a card of blending. It's a card of balance, but less than a card of balance. It's more of that card of not having too much of one thing or another, trying to find that perfect combination. It's sort of that idea of alchemy or mixology, if you want to think about it more in mundane terms. So what does that mean for you? Well, depending on your sun, moon, or rising card, whether this is your sun, moon, or rising sign is really going to indicate on where this is impacting you. Temperance has a big energy. So think about where can you kind of throttle back on things that might be a little bit too much, and that can be good or bad things. Where can you kind of step on it, I guess, when it comes to things that you could have more of in your life so that you get a perfect blend. Okay, think about what that could be. So sun, moon, or rising, guys, think about how that will impact you. How do you get that perfect blend, that absolute perfect mix of, whatever you need, whether that's friends or your internal goals, ideologies, emotions, all of that. So Aries, that's what I'm seeing for you. All right, looking at Taurus. Taurus, what do we have for this month? We have the Empress. Gosh, look, these are just the most beautiful cards. So I want to make sure we're seeing these upright at first. But we have the Empress card, but it's reversed. So this is funny, guys, because when I think about Empress, I think about, Taurus in general. It's just a very earthy card. And the fact that it's reversed is sort of saying, hey, we are leaving that area of comfort. Taurans love comfort, gosh. And I should know I'm a Taurus sun, but whether this is your moon or your rising, there's this idea of comfort and sensuality and sometimes staying put in one place. And the Empress is typically a very, very comfortable card. So when we flip her on her head, what this is telling me that whatever this is, your sun, your moon, your rising sign, make sure that wherever Taurus is prevalent for you, that you are willing to kind of unlodge yourself, dislodge yourself, make yourself uncomfortable during this season of Gemini. How can you intentionally push the boundaries of what is comfortable for you so that you are growing, so that you are changing, so that you are causing change in things around you? Once again, sun, moon, or rising, where is this impacting you? Okay, so how can you cause discomfort, just enough discomfort to cause some things to change, to cause some growth? You can't have growth without having some level of discomfort. So keep that in mind as you sort of move into the season. All right, moving on to Gemini. And if this is your sun sign, happy birthday. Moon or rising sign, of course, also important to note where this is landing. So sun, moon, or rising sign. And we have the 10 of Cups, but it is reversed. Okay, so this is definitely one of those cards that I think it's always nicer when we see it upright. But when we see it flipped on its head, 10 cards, guys, tend to be things that in the tarot, oftentimes we see the 10s roll right back into the 1s. So it's a very transitionary card. So when I see the 10 of Cups, but it's flipped on its head, I'm seeing some changes that need to be certainly made, things that are overdue, things that are past their prime, typically in the areas of relationships or emotions or, even artistic or spiritual things that touch you kind of in that way. Whether this is your sun, moon, or rising card, guys, of course, is going to determine how this is impacting you. But there is something that is stagnant that needs to start moving again. Cups represents water. Water likes to move. It doesn't like to be held in one place if it can help it, right? So where are things perhaps stagnant in your life? Where are things, especially in that sort of watery concepts of emotions and spirituality, etc.? How can you get things moving again? That's what you want to consider this month during this season. All right, moving to Cancer. All right, Cancer, what do we have for you? We have the Page of Swords. What a beautiful card here, Page of Swords. Okay, so I want you to jump into your Gemini season with the plan to tackle something brand new, tackle some new ideas, come up with some new ideas. Gemini season is perfect for that. One of the things about Gemini, I love too, it's also right at the beginning in the Northern Hemisphere. It's towards what I would consider, the beginning of the year, right? It's still kind of spring, early summer. But to me, it's very very new, still very fresh. So what types of new ideas, fresh ideas, new ways of looking at things can you consider? Whether this is your sun, moon, or rising is going to sort of pinpoint specifically what area of your life you want to look at. So consider that. But the Page of Swords is kind of it's this overarching idea of having, like I said, new ideas or new ways of considering things. And I love that on top of the Gemini energy that we talked about towards the beginning of the video. So keep that in mind. All right, moving to Leo the lion, and we have the Knight of Cups. Okay, so, and I love this because when I think about so many Leos, I think of so many very self-assured people who kind of really have a lot of Leo energy in them, very self-assured, very sure about who they are and what they're going for and what they're looking for. If this is your sun or moon or rising sign, this is going to really come across in sort of different ways, right? So try to pinpoint where this energy is reaching you this month. But, you know, Leos, you guys know this is a very, very fiery sign, and yet we're looking at a very, very watery card. But still, we have someone that knows what they're doing. They know what they're going for. They know what they're looking for. So for you this month, Leo, I want you to keep an eye on the prize. Continue to move forward. Follow your heart. Okay, and look for that thing. For some of you guys, I feel like there's a project or something that's been in the works for a while, and it's pretty close to, and when I say project, I'm just oftentimes just meaning something that's maybe a longer term goal or something that's longer in coming or something that you've been working for. Something's coming coming to fruition. You just need to reach out and grab it. So think about what that might be depending on where this sits in your chart. All right, moving on to Virgo. And if you are a Virgo or sun, moon, or rising Virgo, the problem with Virgo and Gemini is that they sit square in the sky against each other. So every year at this time when the sun is in Gemini, you might start feeling kind of some negative effects on whatever's sitting in your Virgo in your chart. So sun, moon, or rising, it could always be a little bit of a tense or difficult time for you. And we have the King of Wands reversed for you this month. So whether this is your sun, moon, or rising, of course, is going to indicate how this is impacting you. But I see a lot of second guessing. I see some imposter syndrome for many of you. I'm seeing a lack of self-assuredness. And the sad thing is when you're feeling that, and the King of Wands energy is one that should feel self-assured, right? You should feel good about where you are. So if you're missing that, oftentimes it's something's kind of shaking your footing, so to speak. So this could be something, internally. It could be something externally. Like I said, look at whether this is your sun, moon, or rising to get a bit of a better idea about what that, in particular is. Virgos, oftentimes you like to be a bit more in control, or at least have things kind of be sort of orderly in particular ways. So having this king flipped on its head, it could kind of speak to some of that as well. All right, moving to Libra, and let's see what we get. Libra, we have the Ace of Cups. Look at these fish. How fun. All right, Libra, I want you to go into Gemini season. Remember, I was saying at the beginning of the video that this is, you need to be ready to move. You need to be ready to kind of, make quick thoughts or quick decisions, or be willing to change the way you're looking at things. The Ace of Cups is all about, oh gosh, it's such a big energy, guys. It's whether this is your sun, moon, or your rising, think about where this is going to impact you. But the Ace of Cups is a lot about this idea of love or passion, but passion in a way for more emotional passion, or filling your cup, filling a spiritual cup. Okay, so if this is your moon sign, I would imagine it might, you might want to focus more on your spirituality perhaps during this season. If this is, your rising sign, think about how you're interacting with other people. How can you emotionally fill your cup around them? And how can you fill your own cup? If this is your sun sign, how can you fill your own cup? What things can you do to really make yourself shine out more? Okay, if it's your sun, how do you make yourself shine more? By filling your own cup and doing things that make you happy. So keep that in mind as we move forward. All right, so Scorpio. Scorpio, we have the Four of Cups. I'm getting an awful lot of Cups cards, which is really interesting, seeing as how we are not in a Cup season. But Four of Cups, guys, if you take a look here, we have a mermaid, and she's just sort of gazing out into this pond, and she's not overly happy. The Four of Cups is kind of a blah energy. Okay, and in a season of Gemini, when things like to move and move and move and change, and you need to be willing to change, this is a very dragging type of card. So whether this is your sun or moon or rising sign is going to indicate a bit more about how this is impacting you, but look for the things that are dragging on you, because if everything is moving past real quick and you are just not paying attention because you're so busy staring into the pond, dragging your fingers through it, kind of bored or just sort of blah, you're going to miss things. So look for those things that are dragging you down. What can you do to change things, to cast them away from you? What can you do to kind of lighten your load? That's what I'm seeing for you this month, so consider that. All right, moving to Sagittarius. So Sag, if this is your sun, moon, or rising, it doesn't matter. The sun is directly across the sky from you right now. So there's always going to be this level of tension during this time of year when the sun is there. So this is your sun or your moon or your rising. Think about kind of how this is impacting you this year. You'll often see this every year where you'll get this sort of tension that happens during this time of year. But let's see the card that we get. So we get the King of Cups, but we get him reversed. And I actually just got, so I got a warning that just kind of popped out of here for some of you, not all of you, but I just need to state right off the bat, for some of you, you need to be really careful about manipulation this month. Very careful about manipulation and people that are trying to manipulate you for their own ends. So keep that in mind. That's not for everyone, but I just really had the need to say that. Now, depending on whether this is your sun, moon, or rising, kind of moving on to some other interpretations here, but if this is your sun, moon, or rising, this is going to impact kind of how this is focusing on you and in your life. And it's interesting because when I think about Sagittarius, I always think about this concept of moving, shooting for the stars and always looking at that really big picture idea. And when I see the King of Cups, but he's flipped on his head, I just see a lot of mental confusion. And mental's not the right word. Sort of emotional and intuitive type confusion. So not listening to yourself internally, not listening to your own intuition, not listening to your own wisdom. And that's kind of the better way of looking at this here. You have an internal wisdom that is really important for you to listen to. And for many of you this month, you're just not listening to it. So think about if this is your sun, your moon, or your rising, how might you not be listening to yourself when you really should be? How are you perhaps putting your own feelings or emotions on the back burner? So keep that in mind and see if you can do a course correction this month. All right, moving to Capricorn, what do we have for you? Eight of Pentacles. This is my favorite card in this deck because I love spiders. And I just think this is such a beautiful, beautiful card. All right, Capricorn, you are not going to be overly sad if I tell you that you need to kind of get your butt in gear and do some work this month. I have a feeling that whether this is your sun or moon or rising, it kind of depending on where this is, you're going to say, oh, yep, I do that frequently. And in fact, if I say you might have work to do, things that you need to look at, you might say, yep, I totally understand that. That happens a lot. I don't want to say just work in a bigger sense. What I would say is you probably have a bunch of little things. Now, if this is your moon sign, it's going to be different things than if it's your sun sign, right? So what little things have you been putting off? What little things can you do that are little steps that will lead to a big result down the line? That's what you want to look for this month. Or do you have little things that you've been putting off? That's what I want you to consider this season as we're moving into the season of Gemini. All right, looking at Aquarius. If this is your card, you have the Seven of Swords, but it is reversed. So Aquarius, whatever kind of clever shortcuts you were planning on taking this month, And if this is your sun or moon or rising, of course, it's going to be a bit of a different impact. But whatever kind of shortcut you were going to take to get from point A to point B in whatever area of that life it is not going to work out very well for you. So my suggestion would be to put on the brakes, think about, think the whole plan through all the way again. Some of you are like thinking, I haven't thought at all. I'm just charging forward in this area of my life. Yes, that too. It's not going to work out super well for you. So I would say you would be much more better served to kind of slow down and don't take shortcuts in that area of your life, kind of rethink things, and then step into the season on a much better foot. All right, moving to Pisces. Pisces is sitting square in the sky with Gemini. So the sun in Gemini is going to run square with your sun, your moon, or your rising. So this could be a time of tension for you year after year after year in that particular area of your life. So keep that in mind. Look for that. See if that just happens to be the case for you. If so, don't be overly surprised with that, but let's take a look. So we have the Four of Wands, but it is reversed. I always see the Four of Wands reversed as a card that is a card of a feeling in some ways left out, but left out in a celebration or something that was supposed to be really good. And oftentimes it's missing out on something that was supposed to be really good. And so for some of you, this could actually be, an event or some sort of meeting between you and another person, or it could even be an internal goal. It kind of depends on whether this is your sun, moon, or rising, but there's this feeling of kind of missing out or missing something or missing a party or a celebration or missing the mark in some way. So knowing that going into the season, I think I always say, forewarned is forearmed. So if you know that, there's always a way to kind of help move things more upright, which would of course be a much better way of orienting this card, having it be more positive, right? So moving through the season, I get the sense that for many of you, this energy is kind of towards the end of the season. So what can you do between now and then to try to write that card? Okay. Take a closer look at sort of what you already have in play and what you might be able to change sort of moving ahead. All right. So that is what I'm seeing here. I'm going to go ahead and clear the table, and I will meet you at the end for the oracle card reading. Okay, so on to the oracle card reading. So no matter what sign you are, this is where you can get a little bit of extra clarity this month. Your intuition has a lot to play here, guys. So need you just to slow your breathing, get yourself into a bit of a fuzzy headspace before we move on. And I'm using the Oracle of the Radiant Sun deck here. This was the Shadowscapes Tarot, if you did not know. One of the more beautiful decks, I think, out there. I just think it's beautiful. One of the things I was noticing, guys, is there was a lot of water energy that I see kind of coming into the season, which to me speaks a lot to it really weighing heavily on our emotions. So keep that in mind if you saw a lot of water there. I also saw the two fiery cards were ones that were actually sitting square to Gemini. So Virgo and Pisces this month were the only ones that were fire cards. And then, of course, the only card that was a pentacle was Capricorn, which kind of cracked me up just a little bit. All right, so what I want you to do, guys, is I have these three cards right here. I just want you to take a quick look at them. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And you're going to choose either card number 1, card number 2, or card number 3. Okay. So if you chose card number 1, then this oracle card reading is going to be a message for your head. If you chose number 2, it's going to be a message for your heart. And if you chose number 3, it is a message for your spirit. So let's see what we get here. And we actually get the sign of, or I'm sorry, the card, the endurance card. This is all about that idea of the sun in Scorpio, which is interesting. So, and I'm just going to kind of have you take a look here. The imagery on this particular deck, the symbols and whatnot that they use, I think they speak to us all in different ways. So kind of take a second while you're still in sort of a fuzzy headspace and look at these symbols and see what you're kind of getting from this. But when I see this idea of endurance and, having the strength to sort of muscle through and move through this season, for a lot of you, it's just going to mean buckling down and, having that internal strength, being able to move forward and taking the next step even when it feels like that's something that's really difficult. So take those cards that you had during your Tarotscope, combine them with that idea of endurance. Hopefully you've been jotting this down in your tarot journal, and I'd say review that throughout the month, and hopefully you will be a bit more prepared moving into Gemini season. I'm so happy that you're here with me today. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. Make sure that you are here for the month ahead reading that will be coming out in about a week. I look forward to seeing your comments below, and I will see you next time.